All right, my friends, welcome to episode 224 of Prof and Dev Play Games, the annual Best Games of the Year podcast. My name is Larry. I am a professor in Southern California, and my Twitter handle is @ProfPlaysGames, and over there is Anthony the Dev @SummerSpeak. How's it going?
It's going okay.
Yeah.
Had a good holiday. I'm still off of work until the 2nd. I don't really know what I'm doing with myself for the most part at this point.
Hanging out with family, playing games?
Yeah, playing some games, hanging out with family. I mean, the holidays were pretty exhausting, but in a good way. But I feel like I'm still recovering from all of that.
Oh yeah, I get it.
we have a lot of family that come over to our house, so there's a lot of prep for actual Christmas Day. And then they're here, and we have dinner and everything, and then you're just like, the next couple days, you're like, I just want to sleep.
Cleaning
so
up
tired.
and recovering, yeah.
Yeah.
My in-laws hosted this year. We do, and they do Thanksgiving, but they did both this year, and it was really nice because we didn't have to clean up the house or get anything ready. We just brought presents over and food, and
oh, that's nice.
Did it all there. And my daughter, she was so cool. She opened up a present. She had, I don't know, several presents, but maybe her second present was like these magnetic blocks from my cousin, and she was done. She just, for like 25 minutes, just played with those blocks and didn't care about anything else.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Man, this was the first Christmas, that she's really got it. She's really keyed into it, and it's definitely a lot of fun to, like, she's excited to hang out with her grandma and grandpa, and, like, all the decorations, and, like, the presents are cool, too. And, everything was just, like, really nice. So, pretty awesome Christmas for us.
That awareness is there now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we're going up to our home, our old stomping ground, to have a Christmas with my mom for a little bit. So she's looking forward to seeing her grandma and cousin and uncle, and she's excited.
Oh, is your cousin coming up too?
No, we're gonna see him on the way up.
On the way up.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be through the drive.
Yeah, actually,
but I didn't know if he was
down,
actually going to.
Like
way down?
So we're going to be up there, and then we're going to come home toward the airport, so we're going to leave a day early and stay with him.
I see.
Yeah. Because he's going to be out doing something for New Year's.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But, no, that's cool.
Yeah, it was good during the summer. I'm sure this time will be pretty good, so.
Yeah.
Family's always fraught for me.
Same, really, kind of. But, they're family. You kind of deal with it to a point.
Yep.
But yeah.
Why don't we roll into our topic of the day? Topic of the week.
Yeah.
How we do it is we do Game of the Year every year. We choose 5, and we do a point system where number 5 on the list is worth 1 point, 4 is worth 2, 3 is 3, 2 is worth 4, and 1 is worth 5. And then combined, we do the math, and we figure out what Prof and Dev Play Games Game of the Year is. I don't know if we have a ton of overlap this year, so this will be
this will be interesting. I think we'll have 1 overlap, maybe 2. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm going to guess 1.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah. Why don't we start with a couple of consolation, didn't quite get there, almost there, games.
Sure. I can start with 1. I'm terrible at this game, but it is crazy and good. Tetris 99.
Oh, God, yeah, dude.
I'm terrible. I'm truly terrible at it. I'm just not that great of a Tetris player, especially as the skill ceiling has gone up for that game.
Right.
It's become so apparent that I'm just not good at Tetris.
And they've layered on like badges and stuff to this game, which makes it even more difficult.
But if you had told me years ago that when Battle Royale was a thing and coming out that there was going to be a Battle Royale Tetris game, I'd be like, you're fucking lying, you asshole.
Nailed it.
But it exists, and it's
good. That's like the most Nintendo thing ever, to fucking just take this weird-ass shit and make it into a Battle Royale type of game.
So yeah, he just gets an honorable mention from that, just being like, yeah, they actually made a Battle Royale Tetris work and be a fun thing.
They've done really good like events and skins that you can get. Not that I'm ever good enough to get any of them, but I've got top 10 2 or 3 times, which has felt like a fucking Herculean effort.
Yeah, my friend's significant other consistently comes in at first.
Dang. Even when they play the one where you can only play if you've gotten first in another one?
Yeah.
Dang, that's insane.
I've watched him play. I watched him play about 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
Of those 24, he came in top 10 every single one.
Oh my gosh.
And then he won like 6 or 7 of them.
He just goes into like flow state.
Oh, he's totally in flow state. It's just insane.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And that's when I realized I'm never going to be that good. It's cool.
Does he play handheld or TV?
Handheld.
Yeah, it feels better handheld for me.
So yeah.
Good game. I got 2. I'm gonna give you one right now, and I'll kick it back to you. I'm gonna do Cadence of Hyrule. It's one of my honorable mentions. I really like this game. The Necrodancer gameplay with the Zelda skin, basically, as opposed to Zelda skin with a Necrodancer, or Zelda game with a Necrodancer skin. It's really a Necrodancer game. And just the music alone carries this title for me, but also the gameplay in terms of how they melded kind of Zelda-ish puzzles and quote-unquote dungeons and the overworld with the way that you hack and slash to the beat. Really was smart. I felt like it was a weird difficulty environment, because coming from Necrodancer, which I thought was hard as fuck.
It is hard as fuck.
Yeah, this game was not. This game was, I thought, a little too easy. Like,
okay,
the final boss I beat the first time, and that shouldn't happen. I'm not that great at games, so that's kind of how it felt. Like every boss was just like, yeah, I get it, boom, boom. It was. I feel like it wasn't as deep as it needed to be to really make it to my top 5, but it was close.
In a similar vein, for me, that it make the top 5, but I enjoyed it, and I think it's hurt by other games that have come out in the past many years, is Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game, and it's a great remake, honestly. I just actually think Breath of the Wild has so pushed past what the old Zelda formula is now that it's kind of tiresome. I had a hard time. I was trying to figure out why I wasn't getting so into it, because I love that type of Zelda game. But I think Breath of the Wild has kind of ruined it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I want more freedom out of those games now. And as of a time, they're great, but times have moved on.
Do you feel like the lack of like true dungeons in Breath of the Wild is something that you'd like to see come back, or you like that direction they've gone in?
You mean the lack of the dungeons?
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they came. I don't care if they come back or not.
Okay.
Because the lack of dungeons wasn't the having dungeons or lack of them didn't really change my opinion of Breath of the Wild. Really, it wouldn't have. I would. Honestly, in a lot of ways, I would love to see what a really deep dungeon looks like in a Breath of the Wild
me too.
design environment, and maybe that's what we'll get out of the sequel. But it didn't hurt me that they weren't there.
Yeah.
It was refreshing in a way that they weren't.
So does Link's Awakening feel like a Game Boy game to you, even though it's gussied up?
Yeah, I mean, it still is. I mean, it has a bunch of quality of life changes. It's not as archaic as the Game Boy in any way. It's much easier to play.
Yeah.
But mechanically, it is a early 90s Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great games. It's just times have moved on.
Yeah.
And my tastes have moved on. So, still very good, just not good enough for top 5.
And it's still an awesome game, because this year I think had a lot of really quality games.
Yeah.
So making the top 5 was hard, at least for me, and I'm sure it was for you too.
Mm-hmm.
My other honorable mention goes to Luigi's Mansion 3, which honestly would fucking be on this list if I had played it more. I probably got like a fifth of the way through the game, haven't gotten back to it. Every single floor is just a different theme, different level. It makes it feel like different self-contained like Luigi's Mansion games. And just the puzzles for the most part are really smart. The thing that holds it back for me is just the controls are not super intuitive. It's almost like you have to have like a claw to hold the poltergust basically and spin around and aim at the right place. It was a little cumbersome, but the charm is just off the charts. The graphics look great, and just it's a funny game. So I think it hits on a lot of areas that are striking to me, and I think that it would be a lot of fun for me if I had played more of the game. It probably would have made a top 5 for sure.
Yeah. My last honorable mention, similar state, because I just started playing it a couple days ago, and not even that long, has been Division 2.
Oh yeah, fuck, dude! I can't wait to talk to you about this.
I played a couple hours, and I'm like, this is cool. I can see the hooks here, and I want to play more. If I'd played more, maybe it would be in top 5. I don't know. I need more time with it.
That's so funny because this week obviously we're both going to try to play together. So I played 2 to 3 hours, and I was like, oh, I get this. This is much more accessible to me than Division 1 was. The Division 1 at the beginning was just so fucking hard. It really bounced me off of it, and I was playing co-op with my brother. But this one, it felt like the progression of the mission that I was on. There's like waves of enemies, then you move to a new area, and there's the waves there, and then another area, the waves plus the boss. Whereas the last one would have had them all condensed into one place. It's just wave after wave after wave, and then the boss, and you just have no breathing time to recover or take a breath.
Yeah, this is. I agree.
And the loot grind in that game has already got me. A little bit. So there's some good hooks there for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely it's similar in ways to the looter shooter like Destiny, but it actually feels like they moved forward with some quality of life features on like the actual loot collection, equipping, recycling. Like there's just a lot of just nice things added to the game that's like, okay, this is trying to progress that looter shooter genre somewhat.
Right.
Which is nice. But yeah, not nearly enough time. And no, I haven't been able to play it at night anyway. It's only been here and there during the day when the kids aren't around.
Well, I played...
Yeah, they're not going to watch it.
Yeah, no, they're not watching that for sure. And I played the other night from 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. So...
Whoa.
Yeah, my... apparently, I was coughing in the middle of the night. And my wife thought I was awake. So I wake up with her putting a glass of water in my hand. I'm just like, what's happening? Why do I have water in my hand? Just like barely waking up, and I fell back asleep with water in my hand. Then she shook me awake. She's like, don't fall asleep with that in your hand. I was like, why are you waking me up? And I was just up at that point. So I laid in bed for half an hour from 3 to 3:30 trying to sleep. Couldn't. Came downstairs and played Division 2 for a couple hours. So that was fun. But yeah, Division 2, like quickly, like very different than Division 1 and a lot more fun for me.
Yeah.
So I hopefully we'll get a chance to play at some point. And one other honorable mention that isn't really an honorable mention because it did not come out this year, but it did come out on Switch. So, I mean, if this were eligible, quote unquote, via our rules, it'd be number 1. It's Divinity Original Sin 2. I've put 25 hours into this game in the last month, and it's fucking astounding. And I'm not even out of the opening area yet.
You're like, if I could go back to last year,
yeah,
this would be on my game of the year list.
Absolutely, this would have made it for sure. And we tried playing it. We just, our schedules didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
Mainly mine. So maybe that's our honorable mentions, and we can move on to our lists. We'll start at 5 and move up to 1. Why don't you smack us with your 5?
Number 5. This was an early-ish of the year thing. I think March-ish. And I'd kind of forgotten about it, but I was looking through games that I've played in the year, and I remember it fondly and actually really enjoyed it. Wargroove.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're never going to see an Advance War out of Nintendo, and they gave us probably the next best, or possibly something better ever than Advance Wars.
Right.
Super challenging missions that required thinking turns ahead. Lots of planning and variety to the mission types and the units. I've really enjoyed my time with that game quite a bit. I don't remember how far I got. I got pretty far through it, but it was really challenging.
It was, yeah.
You had to think a lot. I was exhausted, in a good way, mentally exhausted figuring out some of that game.
There were. I think I got like 6 or 7 hours into it. And then it was just like I hit this wall where it was just like super hard, and I could just lower the difficulty, but I didn't. No. I never got back to it. But I felt like the design of the levels was smart and really engaging, except that a lot of them had fog where you didn't really know where the enemies were. And then you moved your units to like reveal the fog, and you'd usually get fucked, and that was hard for me.
Yeah, there was one mission especially that did that. Definitely one. I remember that one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game that honestly helped. It was a time when I was doing a lot of design for a tactics game anyway. So I was having a good time playing that. And,
right.
So yeah.
Kind of like homework.
Yeah, that was my number 5.
Oh man, my number 5 is a game I don't think you played. Katana Zero.
Oh no, was that this year?
Fuck, I hope so. Shit. Real quick, I'm pretty sure that was this year. If not, then I'm gonna have to swap in something else from. I
think it was. It might have been early.
Yeah, I think it was pretty early because I remember Brad talking about it, and I heard about it on a couple of podcasts, and I launched it. It came. Oh yeah, this year, April 18th, 2019. Whew. Came out for basically computer and Switch. I don't think it came on other consoles yet. But it's just kind of like stylized, very neon 80s kind of aesthetic, pixelated side-scrolling. Think Hotline Miami, but side-scrolling. Like really quick levels where you're trying to get through. One hit, you're dead, and you start over. And it rewinds when you get hit. You rewind to the beginning. And then when you get finally to the end, it shows you the whole level, exactly what you did. You can speed it up and see how 2 times or 3 times speed, because it's being recorded, and there are these tapes of you playing, and you're the person who is taking these used as an experiment for these super drugs, and you became someone who can manipulate time, and you're trying to unravel the mystery of who you are and how you became part of that program. And it's super interesting because it's just this side-scrolling slasher game where you only get one hit. It's one hit on either way for the most part. Dodging obstacles, lasers, stealth sections, things like that. But then interspersed between those levels are cutscenes, like pixelated cutscenes, story, where you're kind of unpacking who you are, how you got to where you are, how you can end the menace of this super drug. And then there's a little kid, and there's flashbacks to this kid, and then you're dealing with the kid in modern times, and then you get to the end of the story, and you realize that kid in the past, you were involved in nefarious things around this kid. So you were kind of like the enemy you were looking for in some way. So it was really an interesting story for this pixelated side-scrolling slasher game. So that's my number 5. And before we move on, I did kind of just run through the whole story with you. I am certain there are games on your list that I have played but haven't finished yet. I don't care about spoilers. You can say anything you want.
Okay.
And also, it's in better service of our audience as well. But spoilers are not going to harm me at all. So if you have a Fire Emblem game on your list, for example, just tell me everything. Doesn't matter.
I will go to town then. There's a couple games, 2 games that as long as you are cool with spoilers, I will go to town.
I'm cool. I've been listening to the Giant Bomb Game of the Year anyways.
That's true.
A lot of it.
Oh God, they're
by the way
epic length.
Discussions. Did you listen to it? Did you listen to the one about fucking Death Stranding, dude?
No, I've not. You mentioned it to me.
Oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing.
Could they actually explain the story?
Yes, and it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And when you learn most of that story in the last hour.
That's what they said, right? And it's just this nonsense. But yeah, no, I'm probably on hour 15, day 3.
Kojima is Kojima.
5-day thing. Yeah, he's something, all right.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
Number 4 for me is Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Uh-huh.
It's an audio visual experience. Everything in it, kind of as you're listening and playing, blends together into this package and emotional state of moving past heartbreak and learning to accept yourself again. And it hits really hard. Especially if you just play through it in that one go. I think you did, didn't you?
I did. Yep, just on a plane ride.
It just builds, and you just go, and it's just a very emotional experience. At least was for me.
Yeah.
Because of how the music is hitting you and the visuals, and it's simple arcade mechanics, blended with some really creative level design, really creative use of levels. And then all wrapped in with that soundtrack, and just really, especially if you go back and play it on the no narration breaks.
Yeah, I need to get back to that.
If you just play, and I've done that 3 times now, because sometimes I feel like playing this game, or listening to the music or whatever. So just do the whole thing. And honestly, it's the closest they've come to like that modern day feeling of like, I guess when we were younger, or even a previous generation where you put on a record or a CD and stuff and just lay there and listen to an entire album.
Yeah.
But this one, you actually have like an active mental thing going on with playing the game and the visuals.
Well, like those concept albums, right? Where it's just
it's a concept album. It's a concept album game.
Yeah.
And it works really well. And it's hard to say that I've had another game. It's short. I mean, it is an album length. But it is something I keep coming back to as I played it and the year has gone on. I'm like, every once in a while, I'm just like, I just want to experience this again.
Yeah.
Or experience this track or whatnot. And I could just listen to the music, but most of the times I just want to play the level itself, because part of playing it and listening to it is all tied together.
Right.
Adds a visceralness to the emotional state and what I want out of it. So I find it a pretty big pinnacle of that type of design and that type of game. And hopefully these guys will do it more with it eventually.
Yeah,
that style.
Because they kind of like launched it and said like, this is our last game for a while.
Yeah. They made it pretty clear that you wouldn't be hearing from them that much for a while.
And then like maybe their swan song is like maybe their biggest hit.
Yeah.
The thing I really enjoyed about the game, besides the visuals and the sound, obviously, is the way that the gameplay switches up as you go through. Yeah. Like, it really becomes like lots of different games. It's not just a rhythm game. It's not even really a rhythm game, you know? There's a lot more to it than that. So I really enjoyed that.
My absolute favorite level is Parallel Universes. So it's like when the people are snapping. That was such a cool level design. I haven't seen that in a platformer before.
Yeah.
And it just the way they use the like having like eventually when the level's gone, there's 3 different universes or worlds happening, and as the antagonists are snapping their fingers to the beat and clapping, where the obstacles are, you're shifting between these worlds, so you have to be like looking ahead
and remembering
where you want to go and remembering where you want to go, and you start getting into a rhythm and a pattern to it. It's really cool. It was that level blew my mind. It was so cool.
Yeah, that one really has stuck with me. It didn't make my list, unfortunately, but that experience, but it's that level, and there was a forest level that I can't remember the name.
Oh yeah,
with wolves, I believe.
Yeah. Was it the one where you were high, or was it the one with the mushrooms?
Yes, that one. Exactly.
Okay, yeah, it's the one where it like goes super weird.
Yeah, that was also quite memorable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 4.
My number 4 is a game that I am still plotting my way through with my wife, and it is a game that there are moments where you feel like the smartest motherfucker on the planet, and then very quickly, a minute later, you feel like the dumbest person on the planet, and it's Baba Is You. This game just blew my mind in terms of how unique it is, how one of a kind this puzzle game is, where you're basically moving text around the screen to create different rules that change the world, where you can, Baba is you, those 3 words together make the rule where you're moving Baba. But if you bring over a word tile that says rock, Baba is rock, then you become the rock and you move around. Or rock is you and you become the rock.
There you go. Yeah.
Rock is float, wall is float, all these different things that you can manipulate the land in order to touch the flag. Your goal is to touch the flag. Flag is win is what the rule is usually. But then you can change flag to rock is win, or Baba is win, or wall is win, whatever. And however you have to change the sequence of different rules that are written in the lands on the screen helps you get to your goal or change the goal to a different goal. And there are just world upon world upon world in this game of just like progressively more difficult challenges. And the fun thing working with my wife is, us kind of puzzling through it together. But then if we really can't get it, to have her go on to like IGN walkthrough or whatever. And they have like the walkthrough is basically at the top part is just hints. Like the first hint might be like, have you looked at the left wall or something like that? And it kind of gives you like a general direction to go. But then if you're really stuck, then it just like tells you like what to do. And usually we stick with the hints because it really still cheating, but it feels less like cheating.
Yeah.
Get like a nudge and then go from there. And it's just such a fun bonding experience. There's a lot of games on my list actually where I enjoyed these games simply because they are things that I played with people this year.
Nice.
And that's my number 4.
I still need to play it.
Oh my god, you fucking
Still
do,
a puzzle game though, so I don't know how much time I'd actually get into it. I probably get some into it.
I feel like you and your wife together sitting down and puzzling through some of the things would be fun.
So we're at 3?
We're at 3.
That would be Slay the Spire for me, which I came out in early access last year, but I mean it's an actual released game this year. So it is the best designed game I've played in the past 5 years probably.
Oh wow.
I mean not from the art or anything, but from just a pure design. I love it. Varied mechanics on the deck building and roguelike genres, and it's not like you can just go in it and play it one way. You have to always be adapting to your current session you're in, what you're getting, what the encounters are going to be. It has had like very easy to play. It's one of those games where it's like very easy to get into, huge amount of depth to the actual gameplay, and I still don't feel like I completely understand it. There's so much more I could be learning. I put probably 30 hours into this game.
Yeah.
I lost all my saves, and I had the save for it, and I started over and played through it all again. And I should say I haven't played through all of it. That's the thing is I've just been unlocking. Like when I would play it, I kept on unlocking new things. There's when you beat it with a character once, you start unlocking ascension levels, and I think there's 20 ascension levels, maybe 15 or 20, which make the game, like, your runs harder with that character. They change up the gameplay, and there's an entire final boss that I've never actually got to that isn't the final boss that I've played so far. Like there's a second level of boss that you have to do a bunch of other stuff before it unlocks, and you can find it. It's just an incredible amount of content and depth, and then it's just play cards to turn-based playing cards. I mean, it's like a deck builder that you would play on a tabletop game, where you're drawing a certain number of hand of cards, digital cards. You play them down to do attacks to an enemy or give yourself defense, defend against attacks coming at you or bad effects. Rinse and repeat, trying to survive going through this dungeon. And yeah, you have different cards you can buy, and you'll never see the same things, and you get rewards after each fight, and you get to pick a card. You can pick one of 3 cards, and you got to move forward or pick no cards. And so you're constantly just trying to make this efficient engine, which your deck is your character. And you get relics as well that kind of change up gameplay, like drastically change gameplay. So you're trying to combine like the relics you have with the deck that you're building, and then mapping out your path through the dungeon so that you're focusing on potential encounters that are beneficial to you as opposed to things that your deck wouldn't be good against. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the game, and it's super addicting. And it's been one of those games where it's just like so easy for me to say, no, just one more game. It's cool. Just one more.
It seems like because all those different things you can tweak, it makes it kind of endlessly replayable.
It is endlessly replayable. And the thing is, with the developers, they're still adding new characters. There's 3 main characters in the game now, and there's a 4th in beta, which I've been playing it through the Xbox PC Game Pass. So
that's how you
I don't have access to the beta, but if you're on Steam, you have access to the beta.
And
there's a whole new character that they're putting in, which has their own new cards, the whole thing. So the devs aren't stopping with it either.
Feels like the Slay the Spire was in beta for quite a while, a couple of years, wasn't it?
At least a year, maybe longer. Because they launched with 1 character.
Yeah.
And then it came out of beta out of early access with 3 finalized characters.
Yeah, it just feels like thinking of Yakla Games, like they just released their final finished Shovel Knight expansion. How long they've been working on Shovel Knight, most of this decade, and how long the devs, like the economics of their updates. Like, at what point is it not worth it because you're not making enough income? But it seems like people just keep getting drawn into this game. Like, people keep hearing about it and seeing it on lists.
Yep. It just keeps going. It's worthwhile. I think they'll work on it at least for another couple years, most likely. Yeah. And then ideally you can move on to something else. And there's been a bunch of games since this hit early access that tried to emulate it, is the thing. There's been a whole, and the thing is, you don't hear about any of them. They tried to make it look prettier or anything like that, but none of them capture the balance that Slay the Spire has. That's the thing about it, is like, it's so tuned, and it's not something you can just fast follow, make a game of, and have it just as tuned. Like, they've spent so much time iterating and balancing this game so that it feels challenging, but also that weird way of, like, very breakable. So you feel amazing whenever you put together a deck that just breaks the rules really strongly, and you're like, wow, I just make a broken deck, and I'm just going to destroy with it for a while, and this is great.
That's awesome.
A lot like the roguelike. I mean, that's where it just works as a roguelike, is that you just get those runs sometimes that are just amazing. Yep. And sometimes you get those runs that are like, wow, I died really quickly.
Wraps up my experience with Dead Cells.
Yep, I mean, it's exactly like that. Captures it so well.
Right. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to putting more time into that. I've only put it less than an hour. So.
Do you have it on
Steam?
Steam. All right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about picking it up on Switch.
Oh yeah, of course, that makes sense.
Oh god, the Switch would be totally a place. I don't know if that's good, because then I just probably we'll talk about what I play next year, and it's like, oh, I played mostly Slay the Spire.
This will be your top game of the year for next year, too.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, that's number 3 for me.
Okay, my number 3, like, my number 2 and number 3 have flipped so many times, and I still think I probably got it wrong, but I'm sticking here. It's Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's my third game of the year. I spent 15 hours with the game, didn't get nearly as far as I wanted to get. This semester work has just been fucking nutso. And then when I would finally have gaming time at the end of the semester, for some reason I picked up Divinity Original Sin 2, and that took my time.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is like such a great Fire Emblem game because it has the strategic warfare, and it has like the waifu simulator. But then it layers in so many other systems too, with the teaching and all that, the monastery running around, that you can engage in or you cannot. If you really just want to mainline the battles, you can do that. And it just adds so much to do. It's just like personified Fire Emblem. So it's kind of like the best of both games. I really like the characters a lot. I like building out your relationship with the characters. I finally got over the weirdness of being the teacher, because I am a teacher thing, and just really enjoyed my time with it. The timing was wrong for me to, I played most of my hours before school started this semester, and then once school started, it was just everything got blown up for me. Yeah. But I really enjoyed. I know that you don't, but Dimitri and the Blue Lions path. I know the Blue Lions path. I got my Join Blue Blue Lions T-shirt, and you got your Join Black Eagles.
You sent me the correct T-shirt.
I still think
there's
it's
only one correct house, and that is Black Eagle.
I guess. But it's funny that my shirt is blue. Your shirt is burgundy. I don't know why they didn't put it on black, but
because in the game that's not black, actually.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I'd have to look at the cover again.
Okay.
Burgundy is kind of their color as well.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
A little bit.
But the depth of the character interactions really sell this game for me, and then of course just the gameplay is fucking awesome as always.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting more into that in the new year. So that one sits at number 3 for me, and I know that's definitely not number 3 for you.
No. We'll get to it. So my number 2 is Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Great characters overall. It starts out and you're like, oh, this is going to be a pretty standard story, especially with Cal Kestis, the main character, and Seer. You've played enough to meet her, who rescues Cal at the beginning. And it moves from like, okay, this is going to be the standard stuff, to being, one, gameplay wise, a great blend of Uncharted meets Metroid meets Souls. They nail it. They just do. They actually combine those genres, which they're all very tangentially related to each other in a lot of ways.
They definitely lend themselves well to each other.
Yeah, they burn. Like, you can take different amounts from those genres and make different games, mixing those three higher level genres at different proportions. I think this does a great job of mixing them. I mean, the combat I would not say is as tuned as a Souls game.
Yeah.
But I write that off as, like, this is the first time that Respawn has done something like this. Hopefully they'll get to make a sequel.
I imagine this thing. I thought
it's all about the Disney license.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure that the Disney license with EA is coming to a close soon.
Right.
I think they got it. Original Battlefront was 8 years ago.
Yeah, so they're close to the end then.
I bet it's a 10-year deal.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Like, most of the time they're like 10-year deals.
Yep.
So the thing is, what will this look like? Can they get a game out in 2 years? One.
Right.
Or does EA have leverage they want to renegotiate with? I hope they will, or if Disney will be like, fine, maybe they don't want to do exclusive deal anymore. They'll say, like, anyone can license Star Wars from us to make video games.
Right.
I could see that happening more than anything. And then it says, does EA want to still put their name in for a license to continue it? I hope so, because I think Fallen Order has done really well for them, sales wise.
Yeah, I think it has to.
And it's got a lot of praise. Probably the best Star Wars game that's come out in a very long time. I'm a person that did not like the Force Unleashed stuff, so this is probably my favorite Star Wars game since KOTOR 2.
Wow,
it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, it seems like a lot of cash-ins as opposed to, like, really developing a game.
Yeah, and this one, like, really develops these characters, and they meet, and it becomes much more a story of, like, overcoming trauma. Like, it's really just focused on the fact that, like, Cal has lived through Order 66, the Jedi Purge, and it's really messed with him a lot.
Well, I feel like
he's repressed so much of these feelings, and the game is him coming to grips with trying to understand all the trauma and all the stuff that has happened to him.
I feel like the characters around him, like, this is all in the aftermath of the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, Clone Wars in Episode 3. So, okay. Like, the Republic has fallen.
Right.
Palpatine is in control. He has become the Emperor. The fall of democracy has happened, and he's had all the Jedi killed.
Right. So it just feels like the whole world is dealing with this trauma. Like, that seems to be the motif for the whole game.
Yeah, and they really focus it on those characters. And you play through, and you have Cere being like a Jedi Master who has fallen, and you learn that, like, she got captured and she gave up her apprentice, and a lot of people died because of torture and stuff that had happened to her. And we're talking about spoilers. The main villain, the second sister, is Cere's apprentice.
Oh, dang!
And it's revealed, and she's dealing with the trauma of what the Jedi Masters did, Palpatine. This, like, it's all about, like, what the older generation caused and how the younger generation is dealing with the fallout. It's like a through theme through the entire game, and you even hit it when you hit the best character in the game, Merrin, who you'll meet early, but you don't know. She's not given a name, but she's unmasked later in the game, Night Sister Merrin, and she's absolutely the best character ever. I just want an entire game of her. She's amazing. Wow. She gets like 2 hours of the final 2 hours of the game. She's in it as a supporting character, and I'm like, you're the best character ever. Just, can I have a whole game of you? Not that Cal is amazing at that point. It's like, she's just dealt with trauma as well. Like, the entire Night Sisters and lore were wiped out, and she's just been trying to regain power, and she makes a bad deal with a fallen Jedi, well, a Jedi Master at the time, who eventually turns to the dark side. And she regrets that, and she puts, like, again, her story matching Cal's. Towards the end of it, she puts her trauma behind her, accepts it, and decides to venture out herself with Cal and the rest of the crew and be like, I don't have anything left here. I don't have to stay in my trauma. I can look forward. Like, the whole game is about looking forward and finding that, like, trauma can define you, but it doesn't have to hold you back.
And that sounds like a really good message for
it's a great
where
message.
I'm at personally.
It is
That's really good.
Great message, and it hit hard at the end. I was like, this is some of the best Star Wars story I've seen in a long time. It works for me, and it became one of my favorite games of the year. And I mean, just talking about it, I'm just like, God, it's not perfect. There's mechanics that need to be worked out and everything.
I feel like the combat was not rough, but a
little loose.
Like 3 or 4 hours. And the thing that stood out for me in the constructive criticism is that the controls felt a little unwieldy.
A little bit unwieldy, and it was the enemy animations weren't. Sometimes some of them weren't as readable on, like, hey, they're going to attack.
Right.
So timings were a little bit hard to get beyond just you get to memorization.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's Respawn's first take at this. I think they did a pretty admirable job. First take, like, it's good. It's definitely playable. If they get to make more in this, I think they can tune the game even more and make it better with this as their base.
Right.
So
It's cool. It's cool that they're using the engine whose name
Unreal.
is escaping me. Thank you, God. Where they don't have to fuck with, like, making the engine, right? They can just make the damn game and optimize.
And I mean, this is the first time they've used, because they've been using Source,
right,
for all the Titanfall stuff and Apex Legends. So this was their first foray into Unreal, and honestly, this is also a lot of a new team at Respawn. Mm-hmm. I can't remember all the people that are there on it, but it was like a new hire creative director. He didn't do the new God of War. I think he did God of War 3.
Oh yeah, it was I know what you're talking about. It was not Stig, is it Stig?
Yeah, Stig.
Asmussen? Yeah.
This was kind of like he got brought on to hired at Respawn, and this was the team. He led up this team putting this together. So I feel like it's kind of the next step for Respawn as a company, kind of them branching out a little bit, being like, we're not just the Titanfall company.
Even though we're going to put wall running and sliding into every game we have.
Of course. And at least in Star Wars it fits. Like,
no, it's good. It's just funny.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 2.
That's well deserved. If I had spent more time with that game, it would be on my top 5 list for sure. It was a lot of fun. So my number 2, like I said, it's been flip-flopping between that and Fire Emblem Three Houses, and it's Yoshi's Crafted World.
Nice.
And honestly, this game is on my list because of my daughter. So I had the demo. I think I've mentioned this many times on the podcast. And we would just play through the first level fucking over and over and over. Like, we'd play like once a week. Our screen time is pretty limited. But we would just do that. She would want to play Yoshi. Want to play Yoshi. Every time we had screen time. And she just knows where the things are at. She likes to hold the switch when we're on the train. The first level has a train. She knows the names of the characters. Like, it looks cute. Like, the the scenery is made out of like milk cartons and paper plates, and she names those things. Like, it just tells me where to go. Like, this is my first experience with my daughter of a video game, you know?
Yeah.
You have that first gaming experience, and it's just magical. So then over Black Friday, it was on sale. It's like $40 or whatever. So I ended up buying the full game. And then you can do so much more, obviously.
Yeah.
You can customize your Yoshi, pick different colors. You have different costumes. Obviously, there's more worlds. And it's just like her eyes, like the delight in her face when there's like a new world and a new costume and a new color. And just asking me like what all this stuff is, like go over here, do this. Like she's super communicative in general, but then like really like she's engaged in the game and asking what that is, why, can you go here, try to open that door, it's not a door, it's a wall, we'll try to open it, I can't open the wall, like all these different conversations about the game. And I found myself playing the game when she's not around. Like at night, I will want to go further to see like what's the level like, to figure out where the hidden things are, so that I can show her those things. And just kind of like seeing Nintendo games through a different lens. Where when Woolly World came out, I mean I like Yoshi games. Obviously Yoshi's Island was fucking awesome. But Woolly World was fun, but just seemed easy, right? Just seemed, I think I called it kiddie. But now I get it. Like Nintendo needs to have those kind of games along with their Fire Emblems and whatever else, because you're bringing in like a young generation into gaming, and it allows them to come in. It doesn't dumb down the systems. Like you're still platforming, you're still jumping, you're doing a lot of different buttons or whatever, but it's not punishing. It's really inviting, and I'm thankful for it, because it's of everything that I have on my Switch, it's the one game that is really something that I can enjoy with her, and she can kind of take the lead in terms of not really playing. Like she'll hold it and move Yoshi around a little bit, but doesn't really obviously do very well with that. But just she's so engaged with it, and to have that it's not a co-op experience, but have that shared experience with her has elevated this gaming experience for me this year, and it's honestly a gaming experience that I will never forget. So it's got to be. That's why it kind of switched back and forth with Fire Emblem Three Houses, because Fire Emblem Three Houses is like a fucking superior game, but Yoshi's Crafted World has been a superior gaming experience. So that's kind of why it was hard for me to go back and forth. Makes sense.
It's hard to break that emotional tie.
Yeah.
Really. That's really cool. It's a game it's on the list to pick up at some point, because the demo was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. It was a good demo.
It's just there's been so many other games.
Yeah, of course. All right, number one, man.
Number one for me, Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
What can I say? Strong writing and characters overall.
Yep.
The breadth of writing for the characters is insane. Interaction conversations, multiple for every character pairing you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty interesting. As you get to know these characters more and more. The way that the time management mechanics, the teaching and time management mechanics tie into unit effectiveness and their tactics in combat, like that entire loop is so well tuned. It just worked. I was like, okay, I'm spending my time exploring the school, finding things, talking to people. Okay, now that goes into combat, and I do my teaching because I want to train them up in these ways. Just that entire loop was so good, and with me it was even better. And it kind of makes me want to do this again sometimes with big games. Is just disconnect me from the internet and just play the game without having not being able to look at anything. Just play the game as it's presenting me with information.
Right.
And playing this game like that was amazing. And this is the first Fire Emblem game I've spent significant time with. I loved it. It was so good. The combat was great. And I think this is probably one of the best Fire Emblem games for new people to ever try. I think it's a great introduction to the series because of how strong the school and character side of it is. It makes it much easier to get those attachments to very specific characters and then like build them up enormously.
Yeah, I wonder. I get why you're saying that. I wonder if this is someone's entry point to go back. I wonder if it would feel, I don't want to say bare bones, but definitely the way that you interact is not as complex.
Yeah, I actually think it would probably be bare. They'd be like, oh, it's just a lot of combat. You're like, yeah, that's what it is.
Right.
It's mission
with
to mission.
Some cutscenes between where you talk to people. Yeah, totally.
This is definitely like Fire Emblem blown out to something else. And yeah, I mean, I've played through the Black Eagle, Edelgard, for life.
Yeah, your waifu. Did you? Yeah, you didn't end up with her at the end.
Yeah. Dorothea.
Oh God, I love her.
She was awesome.
I'm trying so hard to put her onto my Blue Lions team.
She's worth it. Who's the other character I really liked that was would be potential waifu was Petra? Yeah, Petra, who is from a different place and she doesn't speak the great English.
Mm-hmm.
And she just mixes up words. And it's fantastic, and she's awesome. There was quite a few possibilities there. Yeah, I played through that, and the story was great. You had choices and options, and the time skip happens. But before the time skip, you have your unbeknownst to me, because I hadn't read it, it just presents you with a pretty huge story choice on, do you side with the church or not?
Right.
Does that happen in the other ones?
No, it's only in the Black Eagles one.
Only the Black Eagles get this choice.
Yep. So then you basically have two different paths in Black Eagles. So it's there's 4 paths in the game, basically.
Yeah, and so it's like another half path, I would say, because I didn't choose to go with the church. I said, fuck the church. I will burn you down, you old dragon weird person who's wanting to control everything.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. And yeah, I played it through that way, and beat by destroying the high priestess at the end and everything, which was pretty crazy. And then I beat it and played it and started again as the Golden Deer.
And how far are you in that playthrough?
Like a few months before the time skip.
Oh, okay.
I got pretty far into it. The interesting thing there is I'm learning a lot of information about the church itself and the divine being, more than you ever got with the Black Eagle storyline. So it's filling in backstory and lore that I wouldn't have never had gotten in Black Eagle. Mm-hmm. Doesn't change what I would have chosen, but it's interesting to learn nonetheless. So it's pretty fascinating how much content this game has. Yeah, I think I put like 140 hours into the game, some ridiculous amount.
Well, it's crazy because the last one that came out, Fates, Birthright, and whatever the third one was called, basically like 3 different paths with 3 different games. You had to buy them all, and this one's just like, fuck it, we're putting it all in one thing.
Yeah, it's all in one game. It's enormous. There's something here for everyone that likes tactic stuff and RPG pieces. There's tons to do, to unlock, to find. The character stuff of getting other characters, like you mentioned, characters from different houses, trying to recruit them. So you're trying to build like your ultimate house. And a lot of times it's probably not even based on mechanics you want, just like, I want this character in my house because they're awesome, basically. From a personality standpoint. So I don't know, like this game was amazing to me. And if anyone is a tactics player, an RPG player, they should be playing this game. Like,
yeah,
it sets the bar very high, and for whatever comes next for Fire Emblem. And I don't even know what that's going to be at this point.
Right, I wonder where they go from there.
Yeah,
they seem to be wanting to innovate.
Yeah,
which is something that maybe some of the other like tangential Nintendo companies like Pokemon maybe are not doing so well, but they want to keep pushing the envelope slightly. It's not like a huge leap forward, but it's definitely different.
Yeah,
see, I feel like the team here is just like, we love playing Persona 5. So let's put
they
Persona
want
shit in here.
Yeah, they're definitely pulling in that time management piece.
Yeah, exactly.
In the light, it's not nearly as complex as Persona 5's time management, but they definitely has pieces of it. I'm trying to think. I'm looking if there's been any rumblings on what could be next, and there's nothing.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard anything. I think that'd be a ways away. Awakening. Oh, no, not Awakening. Fates. Awakening was like 4 years between each one.
3. Awakening was 2012. Fates was 2015.
This was 2019.
Yep. So my thought
And it was
is,
pushed. It was supposed to be 18.
Going to be any DLCs or anything? That's what I've been wondering if there'd be. I mean, they've added new difficulties and things like that.
Right.
New side quests, but they haven't put any kind of major storyline DLC out. But they haven't announced anything like that, so there might not be.
Same thing. Like, I'm surprised there's several Nintendo games that could have monetized with DLC, like Mario Party. Nothing.
Yeah.
Shit. Another one I was just thinking of, and I'm blanking right now. Oh, Mario Maker 2. Nothing. Yeah. No new skins or anything. It's a little weird.
So as of September 30th, it has sold 2.29 million copies.
Oh man, and that was a while ago. That was 3 months ago.
Yeah, and I'm sure it sold quite a bit during the holiday.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good.
That's a game worthy of your time.
Yes, and that is my number one.
My number one, man, I sat down and like just wrote down every single game that I played this year, a significant amount of, and ordering, putting things on the list. You know, sometimes my list had Tetris 99, sometimes my list had Mario Maker 2, but my list always, every single time, the first game I'd always make sure was on my list was Apex Legends.
Really?
And Apex Legends is absolutely my game of the year, and it continues. I'm actually surprised.
I am very surprised because you haven't mentioned playing it in a while.
Yeah, I've played off and on. It's not something that I have brought up, just because I'm ducking in and out on PS4 or PC. But the time, again, it comes down to time spent with people playing games, and the fucking time when it first launched, just how into it I was and how much I loved playing with you and Brad. It was my number one gaming experience of the year by far. I think that the depth of the game obviously is not something, going to match something like Fire Emblem Three Houses or even the story of Katana Zero or whatever, but the support for the game that Respawn has continued to put into this has given it legs, of course, but just the way that they took the genre that everyone is just raving about, right? Battle Royale, and doing something different with it, giving you trios and your teams are facing each other, and you're like the synergy between your skills and then the skills of your teammates, and then the ping system, the way that the game plays, like it just as I was mentioning with Jedi Fallen Order, like it felt unwieldy, whereas Apex Legends, just everything feels absolutely right, everything makes sense, and I've enjoyed coming back to this game with just randos, and it's like sparked that competitive gaming piece of me that has been dormant for a while. Obviously loved playing Counter-Strike and other first-person shooters, Rocket League, other online competitive games, Team Fortress 2, and then just it was just like a conflagration for me when that thing came out, and it's tapered off throughout the year, but every time I come back to it, it's really great. So I'm picking Apex Legends as my game of the year, and it just surprises the shit out of me.
I mean, it was a potential honorable mention for me. I've thought about it. I just haven't played it in forever. Yeah. But I did play it there with you and with other friends pretty consistently for the first couple months of its release. Yeah. I'm just not a huge multiplayer person, so I can see why I just moved on from it. But
yeah, and that's
of the battle royales I've played, it's by far my favorite.
Yeah, I played PUBG. Did not like it. Fortnite. All right, This one just took me, and it's for me. My start with computer gaming was with competitive multiplayer gaming, and it's something that I've gotten away from recently because I'm doing a lot of, with baby or whatever, I can't fucking get into a game that I can't pause or leave. But to carve out time to get back into that, it reminds me of how much I loved those kinds of games, and it's just polished to a sheen.
I would agree.
So that's my number one, which means by the
I've put it together.
We have one shared game.
So Fire Emblem Three Houses becomes our game of the year with eight points.
Deserved.
And then Apex Legends. And then
with 5 points.
Yep. And then Jedi Fallen Order and Yoshi's Crafted World tied for third.
Nice.
Which is fine by me. That's a good list. I'm okay with that.
That's a pretty good mini list, I would say. And I know that our listeners have different lists.
Sure.
Looking forward to sharing some lists from my friends in future episodes. But man, can't go wrong with. I like that. I like the Fire Emblem Three Houses and then Apex Legends because they're very different games.
Yes, they are.
Single player, multiplayer, deep, not deep, different everything. And it's a nice 1-2 punch for the year.
And that means, based on this list, we also have 2 games of Respawn on here.
I know. I was thinking that when you said, which I knew it was coming, Jedi Fallen Order. I was like, we got Respawn in 1 and 2 between our lists.
Yeah.
They had a very, very good year.
They really did. And it definitely feels like Fallen Order was their, in a way, kind of a spiritual successor to their work on Titanfall 2.
Oh, yeah.
Just that single player experience, like really digging into that single player story. And then, I don't know, this feels like the company split it off and like, fine, we'll just do our multiplayer as multiplayer game.
Yep.
And we'll just focus on single player games as well. Like, but not try to include multiplayer and muddy the waters. Like, and maybe it works for them. I think, hopefully it does.
Seems like this year is working out for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they get to have Titanfall 2 being like a critical darling, but didn't sell that well.
No.
And then having these games just critical hits and commercial successes.
Yeah.
And then also having Apex Legends be in the Titanfall 2 universe.
Yeah, exactly. To keep it going, kind of.
Yeah.
It's always weird that it's in that universe, but there aren't the key thing. The Titans aren't in it.
Right.
I get it, but it's definitely one of those. I would use the word. It's kind of an offshoot of that lore.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, man, I should play again.
Fuck, it's a thrill ride, man. Every time I get back in there, I'm like, this is just drugs.
Fly us into the water again.
Well, yeah, I'm also not great at the game.
It helps to pay attention to what's going on.
Yes, exactly. I was looking at the wrong thing, and we all
No.
Except for Brad cut off at the last second.
Did Brad? Or did I die?
Yeah. You and I died.
Yeah,
he cut off. Oh, man.
I tried cutting off, but I just didn't cut off soon enough. I was just like, I was so screwed.
Sorry, I'm killing us all. Man, just the laughs and the thrill ride. That's the kind of short burst experience that I love about video games. And I know that some people, gravitate towards story-based single-player games, and some people toward multiplayer. I like both, and there's something in there for both for me. But this year, this is the one that stood out for me. So, yeah, great game.
Yeah,
great year of games, I should say. Next year is going to be fucking stunning. I'm going to call Cyberpunk 2020 being our number one game of the year next year before we even get there.
I mean, that's the thing is my expectations are so high for that game.
Yeah,
it is such a good chance that it doesn't meet them.
Yeah,
and it crumbles. True. Like, I'm trying to rein myself back in at least a little bit in my excitement. But when I look behind me at my shelf of Cyberpunk RPG books, it's really hard for me not to get like super excited.
Right.
Because I never thought that would happen. Ever. So, and be done by CD Projekt. Holy shit.
Right.
Like, oh my god.
They've had a banger of a year, and since The Witcher's come out, you sent that article today, people were like in droves going back to Witcher 3.
Actually, let me check on Steam now. I mean, people are going back in. Stats. What are the stats? So, it's kind of fallen, I think, now. Where are we? That was yesterday. Witcher. No, never mind. It peaked at 94,651 concurrent players today.
Crazy.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th most played game on Steam.
A 2015 game.
Yep. It has only been rising. Like, so the show came out and it was like, it got up to like 50,000 users like the weekend the show came out.
Yeah.
And it's just been climbing. Like, more and more people. And now you can only imagine, that's on Steam. How many people are going back and playing this on console and Switch now?
Right.
Like,
this
is a renaissance for this game.
It's just and I wonder, are those like new players? Are those people who are coming back to it? You don't really know.
At least on Steam. I mean, if people are discovering the show and stuff, it's $15 for the game of the year on Steam right now. So that has to be. Let's see. What are the top sellers right now? I mean, Witcher 3 is the third best-selling game on Steam.
Oh wow, those are new players then.
With number one, and the number one for almost the entire sale has been Jedi Fallen Order.
Right. Which is not on a huge discount. It's only like $10 off or something.
Yeah, 17%. Yeah. It's $10.
Well, with Rise of Skywalker, I'm sure the people are wanting to get their Star Wars fix.
I guess so. At least they'll get a good story this time.
Zing.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, The Witcher Netflix series is awesome.
Yes.
And the Rise of Skywalker was less awesome. I was entertained. I will say that. It was 2.5 hours or whatever of very quick smash cuts. I think we talked about it on mic last week or the week before.
Yeah, I mean, you hadn't seen it. I was trying to stay a little bit vague.
Yeah.
I guess we can cut it here and say, if anybody doesn't want spoilers for Rise of Skywalker, probably leave now, because I'm just going to lay it out there.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We will see you at our next episode where we will do our predictions, recap from last year. I'm sure we got none right.
No.
And then we will give our predictions for 2020, which will be a fun prediction episode because there's so many new consoles coming out.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And then we will move into spoilers now for Rise of Skywalker.
So, my biggest thing with this movie is, one, as I said, over text, the editing is terrible. Like, it's just smash cuts constantly, and it's like super quick smash cuts. No scene nothing is given room to breathe. Any emotional impact is just cut off because they smash cut to something else super quick.
Yep.
Right. And then the other dumb thing that has just been getting on my nerves since seeing it is, what the hell was the Emperor's plan? Can you tell me what the plan was?
The plan was for Rey to kill him.
No, it wasn't, because at the beginning of the movie, he told Kylo Ren to go kill her.
Oh, God, you're fucking right.
No, it wasn't. The first thing he tells Kylo Ren to do is to kill her. And Kylo Ren doesn't, of course, because, well, he's not going to. He's conflicted. But no. So I'm like, what the hell is his plan? I don't know. It kind of changed constantly through the movie.
It changed, exactly.
Kill her. Oh, she's here now. Well, if she kills me, then I can become her.
Right.
Oh, wait, but you're here, and you both together, I can take your life force, and now never mind. I'll kill you both now.
It's
so dumb. It's so stupid.
Well, that you're articulating that is bringing out the confusion that I had, where he wanted her to kill him,
yes,
so that his force or whatever could flow into her, and then he could become the emperor in her body or whatever.
Yeah, basically.
And then instead he sucks the life out of them, or the
once
force
he realizes, like, oh, I can suck the life from your.
But why wouldn't he do that to Rey in the first place?
Because he needed Kylo Ren there.
Why?
Because they're a dyad, of course. Whatever the fuck that means.
That's right.
Because that's only been mentioned once on an offhand comment in a previous movie, I think.
Right.
The other thing this movie does that pisses me off is it doesn't, like, fine, it rewrites some of the stuff from the Last Jedi. But the other thing, I'm like, this is Abrams. He doesn't even finish his goddamn mystery boxes from The Force Awakens.
Well, that's right, because he did the first one.
He did the first one, and there are mystery boxes that are set up in the first one that had never come back even in this one. Why was Anakin's lightsaber ever calling to Rey?
Yeah.
Maz in the first one's like, it calls to you. It wants you. I'm like, why does Anakin's saber call to her? Never brought up again, ever.
Well, same thing with Finn having the Force in some way.
Yeah. Although that's coming. Oh, God damn it! Don't get me. Like, that's fine. That'd be cool if it was ever given some time to actually be a thing, as opposed to him having one awkward line of being like, Rey, I've got something to tell you, which is, I'm like, you're going to confess your love to her?
I know, that's what I thought it was.
Because that's what it seemed like. I guess there was some thread that you were Force sensitive at some point, but it's been edited and chopped out, so, okay. This is great.
There were, like, lines like that were left hanging that were weird.
Yep.
That they could have used more time. I think you're right about the editing, like, to cut or smooth or add, or, like, at the end with Lando Calrissian and whatever the kidnapped lady who was a stormtrooper or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, That was fucking creepy.
Creepy as hell.
It was, and I thought it was setting up some I thought is there like a Lando show?
No.
Where like those two are gonna have hijinks together or something?
No, there's been talk at one point there was a thread in the movie. There is a thread with Lando that's in canon that his daughter was kidnapped. Like that's what the First Order did. Like they kidnapped a lot of children to make into stormtroopers. Like that's, and they focused on the war heroes from the rebellion to take their kids, but that's never brought up in any of the movies ever. And clearly at one point it might have been brought up, wanting to bring up in this movie, but they didn't. But they still kept that scene in at the end that makes it really creepy when he's talking to Jaina.
Yeah, whatever her name was. Like it shouldn't have remained. It didn't add anything. It detracted.
No.
And and like again, I was entertained. I don't think that I will rewatch these movies because it's just a dumb summer blockbuster in the winter. But the thing that I thought was really sad about the movie is that I don't think the showrunners had enough faith in the new characters for them to carry the movie.
No.
Because I'm gonna sneeze. I
think
I hit my mute button just in time.
You did.
Fucking, we killed Chewie. Nope, never mind. He's not actually dead. We're wiping C-3PO's memory. Oh no, he's actually back. Luke died at the end of The Last Jedi. Oh, by the way, he's gonna come back as a fucking Force ghost or whatever.
That's expected. Like
that's
a setup of Star Wars. I'm like, yep. Obi-Wan Kenobi came back as a Force ghost. Yoda came back as a Force ghost. In the original trilogy, powerful light side people can become back as Force ghosts. That's a thing.
And that's fine. I just don't like it because it's not letting the new characters carry the weight. It's like the showrunners saying they don't have enough faith in these characters to like make it seem like they can carry this movie.
And I actually say that is true because the way they use the Force ghost is very poor.
Yes, right. It's like Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And like seriously, like I'm fucking Luke the fucking Force ghost. I'm gonna pull the ship out of the fucking water so you can get back and do your thing.
You know the ship that's been in water for 6 years.
And it just like turns on whatever.
Oh, fucking hell, that killed me. And also because of other stuff that I've read that was technically canon. He ripped pieces off that ship to build his hut in The Last Jedi. Like his door in The Last Jedi is a part of the wing of his X-wing. So the thing shouldn't even be air capable.
Flying.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm like that came out. I was like, oh. That was a big eye roll for me. The biggest eye roll was like my entire body shuddering was that every ship now is a Death Star because that's the only thing these people making these movies can conceive of and Abrams can conceive of is the big bad wants to blow up planets.
Yeah.
God damn it. Pissed me off so much.
Well, it just, I think we had talked about over text and you had said like they kind of were filming as they were writing or writing as they were filming. As a writer, these are all the ideas that fucking come out because you've been steeped in media for years and years and years that have just been done. They're trite. And then you discard them because they lead you to more interesting things if you have time to get to those interesting things. And I felt like if they had let, like you said, more time to breathe, more time to like take this first draft and say, fuck, okay, let's get deeper and see what there is really below the surface. It could have been a much better film, especially between Rey and Kylo. I feel like that relationship could have really built into something instead of the...
Well, The Last Jedi built it so well, like built it up.
Yeah.
It slow burned it throughout that entire movie. And it was great. You get to this one, and it's great. And like they're still connected and they're conflicted, and you're like, yep. We're getting Reylo. We're shipping it. It's going.
Well, and they fucking murdered it at the end. Like, the people next to me in the theater were like, what the fuck is this? Like, when they were, Kylo basically gave his force or whatever
his life to
Rey.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben, I should say Ben died at that point, because he's redeemed.
Yeah, Ben. That's right. But then they kiss, and then he dies, and it's just like the whole, like...
It's so funny. Everyone laughed in my theater. Audible laughter.
Quite a few people in my theater, it was either silence or it was laughter. And the people right next to me were like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are they... Like, they're... If you're going to ship them, like, it could have been done more subtly. And they just needed more time.
Yeah.
And I feel like they got to this movie and they said, we have enough ideas to make 3 or 4 more movies, but we said this is a trilogy. This is the last one of the trilogy, so let's just pack it all into this thing.
Well, I mean... And they also clearly wanted to rewrite parts of The Last Jedi. They're like, we don't like what that second movie did, so we got to make our own second movie and the third movie in this movie.
Is it that we didn't like it because the critics didn't like it in some way? Or we're reacting to the audience in some way?
I don't know. But it clearly didn't like parts of it, and we're like, we're going to change that. We're going to retcon some stuff here, which I'm like, fine. I'm actually okay with retconning a lot of stuff. Just don't make it stupid. Like, and there's so much stupid retconning, like her being Palpatine's granddaughter, which makes no fucking sense.
Well, the crazy thing about that is, I don't know shit about Star Wars. I've seen all but the third movie in that prequel trilogy or whatever. But as soon as I saw Palpatine and I know that we don't know who Rey is, I'm like, she's related to fucking Palpatine. Like, that's dumb. That's not going to happen. And it did. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yep,
like,
so that
fucking called
means,
it from the beginning.
Palpatine fucks, which is gross.
Honestly, that's the first thing I thought of. Like, he impregnated someone with his penis?
Especially if the timelines work up, it's after he's all shrivel-faced. And I'm just like, what the fuck, guys? Like, really? And for whatever reason, this is his grandchild. So he had a daughter or a son. We don't know which parent it is the bloodline. I'm just like, what the fuck? And they go, oh god, that whole part killed me too. Mostly in the way of like, we sold our daughter to protect her. So you exchanged money to protect your daughter. Like, that,
you could have just given her away.
Exactly. I'm like, god damn it, this is the stupidest line ever.
It's so dumb.
There's so much you start looking through that and you're just like, what the fuck, guys? Like,
I feel like if you look at it as just like a vehicle for entertainment and don't think about how that shit doesn't connect, it's fairly entertaining. But as soon as you stop for a second and think, wait a second.
No.
Even for someone like me who's like, I'm not really into lore of Star Wars, it's like, this falls apart.
It's not even consistent with itself. That's the thing. You don't need to know the lore. I could ask you about any plot point in that movie, and I'm like, if you think a minute on that plot point, it will be dumb and fall apart for some reason. Yeah. Like, it's not even internally consistent to itself, which is terrible. That's the thing about it. I'm like, this is just dumb. It's a lot of stupid shit being thrown at the screen because they don't have a clue what they're doing.
Do you know how they filmed the Carrie Fisher stuff?
It was footage from the Force Awakens. So they minus the like flashback where she's training with Luke, which is a CG thing.
That's CG, yeah.
But every piece else was they basically had shots of Carrie Fisher reading lines for Force Awakens that was cut scenes from Force Awakens that then they digitally removed her from the Force Awakens backgrounds and put her in this movie.
That's what it felt like because...
It was so fucking weird.
Well, okay, so it felt like they had lines filmed with her saying weird shit, and then they tried to force it into this movie to make sure she was a part of it, and it was like, what you're saying and what they're saying is not lining up.
No.
Like, it's really bad writing.
It doesn't feel good. And
yeah.
So this is my biggest issue. One, I don't think they were given enough time to make this movie. They had 2 years. The original writers and director got fired off of it. And so the Abrams was brought back, and it was just probably like a complete everything's on fire to just get this movie out in 2 years. And then with Carrie Fisher dying, and this was originally supposed to be her movie. Like she was this was the main movie for Leia. But part of me is like, at that point, if it wasn't Disney or anybody else, it'd just be like, push back, say like, we need an extra year to make this movie.
Yeah.
Like, we have to rework Leia's role in it, get rid of Leia from the movie completely. Honestly, I think an honest way to have started this movie would have been like the crawl opening with like General Leia Organa is dead, and it opens on her funeral, basically. Like, and just acknowledge it and move on and do something and not try to force her in it in this really awkward way.
It was so awkward and just it felt a little gross.
Yeah,
in memory.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but I'm just like, and I think mostly it was time pressure of like, we have to get this movie, a $300 million blockbuster, turned around in 2 years. Right, and when you light on an idea, you don't have time to say, well, is this the right idea? You just if you start going with it, you got to keep going with it. And they did, and they kept going with it, and you can tell. Like, that's why things don't completely line up, and there are complete plot threads from this movie that are just dropped. Like, the Finn Force thing, like, had maybe some setup, but dropped.
I mean, just go back and take out that line where he's like, I gotta tell you, when he's going through the sands or whatever, I gotta tell you this.
Honestly, if they could take, so the opening of the movie goes like, they find, like, what, they have to find that, they're like, we have to find a map to where Palpatine is. Okay, how do we do this? Well, one, we have to go to this first planet, because that's where this one dude that Luke knew potentially, like, was researching where Exegol is, this planet. Cool. Mm-hmm. Planet 1. Oh, we found the dagger, but we can't translate. C-3PO can't translate. We got to go to this other planet and get that part. And then from there, what planet do they go to after that? They don't go directly to Exegol. No, then they have to go to the ruins of the Death Star. And then they go to Exegol. I feel like they could cut out that entire chunk where they had to get the thing translated.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
If they had just cut out that entire planet, like that, they never went to that snowy planet thing. And it was just like, no, they got the dagger. It tells them to go to the Death Star, the ruins of the Death Star. Well, like, they figure that out. And then, give more time for everything else.
Well, I feel like it sets up that weird thing between Poe and whatever her name is.
Oh, yeah. New character that's never been in it before and doesn't really matter.
That's the thing. Unless they're using this as a vehicle to set up new shows.
Not that I know of.
Which is what I just kept thinking that's what it was, because otherwise it made no sense. Because you're right. Just rewrite it so C-3PO says, okay, I can translate Sith.
Yeah. Or they don't need him to translate it. Like, someone just know. It's not even in Sith. It's just they know what the message is. Whatever you need to do to cut out that planet. Like, that's a good 10, 15 minutes of runtime you can get back to give scenes back to, like, Rey actually grieving Chewie's supposed death. Like, she's upset, but no one else seems to be. No one else seems to give a damn that Rey might have just killed Chewie.
Right. Like, and you know what? Keep him dead. Like take a risk.
Oh, that was that thing. But there was another transport. Finn, were you so stupid that you couldn't tell which transport was which?
Yeah, right.
God. And Chewie coming out of the ship and being like, did you not notice the two bad dudes, like, 20 feet behind you? If you just looked right, barely. They're not even hiding, guys. God, the movie was so dumb. It killed me. And it kills me not from a lore stand. It kills me from just, like, this is just really bad writing. Like, I expect rushed writing. Yeah. It is exactly what you said. It's rushed. They just had to go with whatever idea they had, because they didn't have time to sit on it and think of something better.
Yep. No, I get it from a writing standpoint, but also
that shouldn't happen on a $300 million blockbuster movie.
But they're making their money back no matter what, right?
True. I mean, it's gonna probably make $1 billion most likely.
Right. So the cost benefit analysis, like, do we go back and push it back a year and spend more money when we're gonna make the same amount of money no matter what? Like, if they did make it better, would it make you go see it again and again?
Yeah, maybe, it could probably go see it at least one. Like, right now, we didn't take our kids to see it, and I'm like, I don't really want to go back and watch it again so my kids can see it.
Yeah.
I think they'd have a fine time with it, because they're not going to see all this. They're going to be along for it. Look at all the pretty pictures.
Right. And at that level, it's great.
Yeah.
It really was.
Just don't stop and think about anything. And actually, the movie is cut together so you don't stop and think about anything. That's the thing. Right. Like, those smash cuts are so you don't don't sit in a scene too long to think of, oh, crap, that doesn't make sense. Like, no, just on to the next thing. Forget about what just happened.
Exactly.
It's a sad way to make a movie, honestly.
Was Rian Johnson on the third one?
No.
Who got fired?
No. Colin Trevorrow. He did the Jurassic World movies.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got fired towards the end of right before The Last Jedi came out. They originally offered this movie to Rian Johnson. Like, they wanted to ask if they... And honestly, J.J. Abrams had been asked after Force Awakens while he was filming that if he wanted to do 8 and potentially 9. And all these directors are like, no fucking way am I... Basically, the 2-year time frame was like nightmare fuel for them, because they're like, okay, I have to finish the movie I'm making, but while I'm finishing that, I'm starting pre-production on the next movie. Right. Like, they overlap. They're just like, I cannot do this. This will burn me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Which should be a giant red flag if you're wanting to try to keep consistency, that you might need to space these movies out a little bit more. Lucas always did them in 3 years. He always was consistent. It's like every 3 years I can make one of these.
Right. Well, that's realistic.
Yes.
And these have gotten bigger and bigger since then. So
yeah,
I mean, obviously we see what happens when you compress it.
Yeah, you get a mess, and then the fact that they didn't have a main story going into the trilogy. Like, there's no real themes for this trilogy. Yeah. Like, no consistent themes that are like thread that runs through the entire thing. And I'd even started to say, I don't actually know. I can't think of what the actual themes for the Rise of Skywalker are.
Nope.
Yeah, I've been trying to think. I'm like, is it saying anything on a thematic level?
Saying that you can go. Oh, fuck me. I'm just thinking about Kylo and Ben.
Yeah,
you can.
Could be.
You if you feel like you've gone too far, you can still come back.
There's always redemption.
Yeah, but that's just for that one character. That doesn't really fit for anyone else.
No.
It just again, it just comes back to like it's like a fucking seeding for all these different series they want to do on Disney Plus.
But it's not like, because most of those actors have said that they would not do a Disney Plus series. So none of them like the actor that played Finn, John Boyega, said like he's not interested in doing a Disney Plus series, like a TV series of the character. He's like, it's movies or nothing for Finn.
Huh. Interesting.
So, and I know like a lot of them would have zero interest in coming back to it. Oscar Isaac has a ton of big name movie stuff under his belt. Like he's already a fairly figure there. And they've already talked about the Disney Plus stuff. The Mandalorian finished up its first season, which is amazing.
Yeah.
There's going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and then there's a Cassian and K2 show over the next few years.
Nice.
Which are fantastic. Like,
right, and I think I mentioned to you, like, most of the things that I've seen of Star Wars, and I didn't see Solo, but
I don't like Solo.
Outside, what'd you say?
I don't like Solo.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen that, but the things that I've seen outside of the main 9 films, I've kind of enjoyed. But the main 9 films, I think obviously the original 3 I quite liked, but the rest not so much.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the prequels are a mess of a movie, but that's the thing. They have a through line and a theme. Like, I think the actual dialogue in them and pacing is bad in those movies, but the actual like story that they're telling is a pretty interesting story of like, how does democracy fall?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot going on there thematically. Lucas has a lot he's trying to say, and you can tell. And you're getting hit over the head with it because it's not subtle. That's not what it is, but it's trying to say something, and all 3 movies work together to say that, even if it's really bad dialogue. But it's not like the sequel trilogy. I'm like, you can just write off. It doesn't actually say anything. It's just a blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster that doesn't have a big message or anything. It's not. Yeah. It fails at the thing that Star Wars is supposed to be, which is a modern myth, and it's not a modern. The sequels are not modern myths. But yeah, you just watch all the non-movie stuff has been pretty great so far, and the side movies. Rogue One was really cool.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
So
I'm looking forward to checking out Mandalorian.
Mandalorian was really good. Again, it just has good writing. You come back to it and you're like, wow, this is what. Is it stellar, amazing, the most amazing writing ever? No, but it's consistent, and anytime it has a setup, it pays off that setup in either that episode or future episodes. Like, you're like, that's good. Nice. You're actually paying off the things that you set up. That's cool.
Right. I hate when you lay things down and never come back to them.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, they set up their Chekhov's guns quite well in the man.
Yeah, exactly.
And they definitely get to shoot when it's time. And it feels really good. Like, good storytelling. It's not hard in some ways.
I mean, I feel like that's what's happening with the Witcher series on Netflix, where they're laying things out and then fucking triggering those guns later episodes, and it's just like so fucking satisfying.
It is. That show's done really well. I'm glad you're halfway through it.
Yeah, I'm about to leave on vacation for a week, so I'm not bringing my iPad, so unless I watch my phone, I'm not going to watch any on the trip.
That's too bad.
I know. I got 4 more to go, and they're fucking every single one has just been like exponentially better than the one before.
Don't watch the 5th one anywhere in public.
Thank you.
There's a lot of nudity in the 5th one.
Well, I was sitting in the coffee shop watching 3. I was like, I'm gonna stop this. And then today I got like really secluded, and episode 4 had none of that.
No,
so I was
4
like,
was
right.
actually pretty tame for that.
Really
a lot of
tame.
that stuff. 5 is not tame. 5 is probably like the worst offender on that front.
Oh shit, because 3 was like really bad.
5 is insane.
Oh my god, 3 was.
I mean, you've read the Last Wish story, so.
Yes, is 5 the last wish?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay,
And
I'm gonna try to watch
it
that.
It has a number of things there, and Yennefer and Geralt, fun times.
There better be a fucking unicorn in it.
No, I don't think that's the Last Wish.
No, it's not.
But this The Last Wish is the story where they first meet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I read that in 2015. Yeah. I'm trying to decouple it from the game.
Yeah.
Which is not helping.
It's hard because the game doesn't ever it touches on elements of it.
It references
the third game finally references it.
Yep.
I have to figure out where the first game actually lines into the mythology.
Yeah.
Because the games, they're all sequels, right? To the story, the books. That's what I thought.
They're not origin stories.
They're not origin. I mean, 3 is definitely a sequel to whatever the books have talked about.
Yeah.
Because the books never get Ciri that old, as far as I know. Ciri is still much younger in all the books.
I don't know. I thought she was older in the novels.
She might be, but she's not. I was reading through what the next book
Blood of Elves is the first novel.
Yes, and that's the one where Ciri starts training as a kid in Kaer Morhen. But
well, it's interesting because in 3 he talks about the sacking of Kaer Morhen, and there's going to be no more Witchers.
Yeah.
But in terms of the timeline, that's before Ciri's even born.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good though.
Yeah,
the writing just fucking pays off over and over again.
It does. That's the thing about it, is there's a lot of really good genre content right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the Rise of Skywalker bums me out so much, is because there's such good genre writing going on right now, and there's no reason that this shouldn't be good.
Well, it just stands out for not being great, and yeah,
which is sad. But yes. Okay, we can stop now. I've said my piece.
Well, that has been our Game of the Year podcast / talking about Rise of Skywalker and The Witcher, which the Witcher Netflix series should be my Game of the Year because it's amazing.
It is.
We will be back next Monday, where we will have our predictions episode, where we'll see what we got wrong last year and what we got right. Nope, what we want to get right for the next year. And I think that means you have 1 week to play Inside.
Oh, that's true. I do.
So it's a short game. It's 5 hours, so I think you can handle it.
Yes, I can.
Prof and Dev Play Games. If you like us, rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your grandpa. Hit subscribe on your friends' podcast feeds. Like us, hit us up on Patreon, Prof and Dev Play Games, and we will be back next week. And feel free to hit us up on Twitter to tell us why our Game of the Year choice is good or bad. See you next week, folks.
Later.